In other news, a banana at the grocery store costs about 30 cents. This one just sold for $6.2 million, which many believe is simply bananas.
What?
$6.2 million, which many believe is simply bananas.
Yes, you read that right. $6.2 million. All with just a banana and some duct tape. If you thought Blender was only for 3D models, let me show you how it can also help you become a virtual multimillionaire. Hi everyone! Today we're recreating that iconic art piece that took the news by storm and made people wonder, wait, am I an art genius too? So get ready for creativity, laughs, and maybe even your first million. By the way, to create this masterpiece, I used Leonardo AI to generate references. Why Leonardo? Because it helps turn ideas into visuals even before you open Blender. Fast, convenient, and yes, even bananas look genius. Want to create your own masterpieces or save time finding references? Try Leonardo AI, perfect for million-dollar ideas. First things first, we're saying goodbye to the default cube. Sorry, cube, it's not your day. Next, I added a circle and reduced the vertices to 6 to create the basic shape for our banana. Then, I positioned the circle at the tip of where our banana will start and switched to edit mode. To shape the banana, I simply duplicated the circle by pressing D and positioned each copy along the curve of the banana. Once all the circles were in place, I connected them using the Loop Tools Bridge function. If you don't see this tool in your toolbar, don't worry. You can enable it in the standard Blender add-ons menu. And just like that, the foundation of our banana is ready. With the main shape of the banana ready, it's time to close the ends. I switched to the top and bottom edges, selected all the vertices, and used E to extrude them toward the center. After a few tweaks to align everything nicely, the banana now has properly closed ends, making it look like, well, a banana. After adding a few loop cuts to refine the shape, I realized I wasn't happy with how the ends of the banana looked. The loop cuts were behaving, well, let's just say, not very naturally. So I decided to try something bold. I deleted the top and bottom faces of the banana, extruded the edges outward, and closed them with a hexagonal face. Sure, it's unconventional, but this is a piece of art, and this is how I envision it. Now it's time to bring our banana to life with some texture. I started by adding a color ramp and a noise texture. By combining these, I connected them to the base color input of our material. To make it look more realistic, I added a few divisions to the color ramp, creating those characteristic speckles and blemishes you'd find on a real banana. After all, every great piece of art needs a little personality, right? And nothing says I'm a banana like some natural imperfections. Next, I added a brightness/contrast node because the texture felt a bit too soft for my liking. After adjusting the settings, I found that a brightness of -0.050 and a contrast of 0.050 worked well in my case. But feel free to tweak these values to suit your own vision. It's all about finding the perfect balance for your banana masterpiece. Then I created a texture for the bottom end of the banana. I started by adding another color ramp and, of course, a noise texture. To give it some depth, I introduced a bump node and connected the noise texture to it as well. I made sure to link everything to the normal input, so the texture matched the bump mapping perfectly. By using the same noise texture for both, I ensured that the visual details were consistent and cohesive across the entire banana. For the stem, I created a similar texture using a bump node, noise texture, and color ramp. However, this time, I adjusted the values and colors to give it that fresh, just picked from the tree look. I aimed for a more earthy tone to match the natural appearance of a real banana stem. It's all about those subtle details that make our banana feel like it just came from the tropics. To enhance the banana's texture even further, I decided to add some bump mapping as well. That's right, let's get bumpy. I adjusted the values for a touch of imperfection, giving the surface a more organic feel. A little unevenness can add a lot of character, making our banana look more lifelike and interesting. Now it's time to attach our banana to the wall. I created a plane to serve as part of the wall, but I decided not to texture it just yet. Next, I made another plane for the tape, dividing it a few times to give it a more realistic appearance. To make sure our banana and wall interacted properly, I added collision properties to both. And to give the tape that authentic, slightly messy look, I used a cloth simulation. This adds a touch of realism, making it look like our banana is truly stuck there in a wonderfully chaotic fashion. Now it's time to texture the tape. I added a wave texture, which gives us those characteristic longitudinal lines you see on real tape. To enhance the realism, I also included a color ramp and a bump node. The bump node adds depth to those lines, making them pop and look more authentic. With these elements combined, our tape is starting to look just like the kind you'd find in a messy art project. Let's keep that quirky vibe going. I also added a touch of metallic to simulate the classic gray tape's sheen and slight shine. This gives our tape that realistic, reflective quality, making it look more like the kind you'd find in your toolbox. With this metallic finish, our tape now has the perfect balance of realism and charm. Finally, I added an HDRI to the world settings to enhance the overall lighting. For the wall texture, I kept it simple with a color ramp, noise, and bump node, playing around with the settings to achieve a subtle look. To keep things looking realistic, I recommend adjusting the world lighting to around 0.3 or even lower. Too much light can wash out the shadows, making the scene feel flat and less convincing. With these adjustments, we're getting closer to that perfect banana art installation. Before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to thank my amazing wife, Melissa, for always inspiring me. I love you, Melissa. Now, if you enjoyed this tutorial and want to support my work, consider checking out my Patreon, where you can get exclusive content and behind-the-scenes looks at my projects. And don't forget to visit my Redbubble store, where you can find some awesome merchandise featuring my art. Whether it's prints, stickers, or other fun items, There's something for everyone. Your support means the world to me. Keep creating amazing things.